Hi, Andrew. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Pallavi. How are you?
I'm great as well. Thanks, Andrew. Andrew, first of all, thank you so much for accepting our keynote invitation for the Global Testing Retreat Conference. Everyone here back at the conference and Agile Testing Alliance, we are all very grateful to you for your continued support. So thank you so much. So, folks, Andrew Knight, very well known as the Automation Panda. He's going to be our keynote speaker for the conference, and his talk is going to be about fixing a bug. The Automation Panda Goes Manual. So that's his talk. Andrew is currently the Senior Director Product Management at the Cycle Labs, and he is a very well-known speaker in various international conferences. And as you all can see, he's pretty modest about it. But we are very fortunate for Andrew to joining us. So over to you, Andrew.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me to speak at the conference. I mean, like you said, folks like us, we speak all over the world, but everyone is special, right? And especially when it's such an honor to be a keynote speaker, right? That's a big deal. So thank you all very, very much for the invitation. So I can share a little bit about what my keynote address is. Fixing a bug. Now, as testers, we all have seen bugs, found bugs, fixed bugs, squashed bugs. But I don't know how many testers out there have fixed the bug that I'm going to talk about, because my bug is a very special bug. It is technically a Beetle. It is a 1970 Volkswagen Beetle. Ooh, double entendre, right? I'm sure many people know by now if they follow me on Twitter. I'm into classic cars, specifically classic Volkswagens.
Okay.
And yes, I have an old Volkswagen Beetle, which was at one point in time the most popular car in history. They made 23 million of them on the road, and back in the 70s, it even passed the Model T Ford in production numbers for any single car platform. Okay. You could argue that the Toyota Corolla has since passed it, but I bought my Volkswagen Beetle. Of course, I didn't buy it new. Right. I bought it during the COVID pandemic, and everybody's getting they're getting dogs, they're having babies, they're buying video games, whatever. I buy a car, right? Because I don't know. There's a story to it, and I'll get into it in the keynote and all. But ultimately, this has been the most challenging bug I've ever worked on, inside or outside of my career. It has had ups and downs. It has had all sorts of problems. And not just small, cute problems you can fix. No, like devastating blow up on the highway problems.
Okay.
But ultimately, through all of my work on it, all my pain and suffering and self-doubt, I learned a whole lot. And there are some very interesting parallels between, working on something in a physical medium and working on it in a software medium.
Right.
And so there were skills that I was able to borrow from my software and development world that helped me with the Beetle. There are some things I learned working on the Beetle in the physical space that I've been able to take into my own software career. And so the keynote is going to be that tale of love and triumph and suffering and coming through. Ultimately, it has a happy ending. The Beetle is driving. I just drove it yesterday. In fact, it's running great now, but to get there was a journey. So in the keynote, we will go through the journey together.
That's great. Lovely to know that it has a happy ending. That's awesome. Happy endings are always great. And I'm just curious, why the name Automation Panda? Would you like to
Sure.
explain it to us?
So, gosh, this goes back to 2016.
Okay.
I feel old because that was 8 years ago. Back then, I had just gotten a new job at LexisNexis as a senior software test engineer. This was the first time that I reached senior level. It was a big deal for me. As an up and coming scrappy test engineer focused on automation, I went through a lot of trying to build cool stuff, and then any big company organizational politics, they get you down, right? So the fact that I was able to get a new job at a new place with a new title, that was senior for the first time, I was excited, right? Cool. So then I'm thinking, okay, hitting senior was a big career goal for me. What's next? What do I do next? And I didn't really know. And what I saw at that time, there were that's when I first got insight into the testing community, because I was not in the testing community for this. I didn't even really know there was one, but I saw people like Angie Jones, who happened to be a coworker now at LexisNexis, and she's speaking, she's blogging, she's going to events, and I'm like, wow. And then I see, oh, there's more people doing this, right? Baz Dijkstra and Paul Grazafi and a whole bunch of others, the casting characters, right? And so I'm like, wow, maybe I could do that too, right? Oh man, wouldn't that be cool? I have thoughts that might be valuable. I've learned things the hard way. I'm like, okay, so how do I start? And I chose to start with a blog, because I thought to myself, I write better than I speak.
Okay.
And I've always liked writing. Maybe I could write articles about the things I know, because every time I've gone to a company, I've written a wiki site and then I've lost it because I've left the company and stuck behind the proprietary walls. Maybe I could start by just rewriting some of the same dang content that's non-proprietary and put it on a blog, right? And so I'm like, okay, so I'm going to get a blog. At this point, I went to WordPress.com. It was so basic. These days I'd probably do something a little cooler, but back then I'm just like, man, WordPress.com, pay $20 a year. But I needed a domain name.
Yeah.
Like I need a domain name. And I was like, AndrewKnight.com sounds really lame. You do a Google search, there's too many Andrew Knights in this world. Like, nobody's going to remember me by my name, right? So I'm like, okay, I got to come up with something catchy, right? How do I come up with something catchy? Well, it was in vogue at the time that you would name your projects after an animal or a fruit or vegetable, right? Like cucumber, right? I'm like, let me think. I couldn't think of a vegetable that was unique enough that I liked, but I came up with the panda as an animal, because everybody likes pandas, right? I mean, who doesn't like them? You got to be soulless not to like pandas. They're cute, they're cuddly, they're black and white, they're just the best little dumb little bears. You just love them. And plus, given my wife being from China, the panda is a symbol of China. I was like, oh, well, maybe I could, that's appropriate for me, right? So I chose a panda. Now, what am I going to write about? Probably going to write about testing and automation. Well, I really like test automation, so I'll call myself the Automation Panda. And so I looked out on ICANN, can I get automationpanda.com? And it was available. I was like, my domain, boom. And so next thing you know, end of 2016, I had registered the domain name, and my New Year's resolution for 2017 was to start writing articles. And so I started writing articles very quickly in January 2017 on automationpanda.com. Oh. And then from there, you know where it went. The speaking, the writing, the blogging, the TAU, the courses, the consulting, everything just wilder than I could have ever imagined. And to the point where here I'm keynoting, Global Testing Retreat, which is a huge honor, and so the Panda became more, not just the domain, but more of like my alter ego, my persona, my nickname, my moniker, you could say.
That's an amazing story to know, Andrew. I didn't know that about you, and you made everyone happy with that. Thank you so much for sharing, Andrew. And we are all looking forward to your keynote at the Global Testing Retreat Conference, happening virtually on 16th and 17th November, and in-person event in Pune on December 8th. Thank you so much, Andrew. We will see you there then. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.